So why are US made eggs banned in other parts of the world? Right here. There's a video um, why US produced eggs are banned across Europe. I didn't watch the video yet. Obviously, it's a first time reaction. I got the idea from Ryan Woozer's channel. It just randomly popped up in my feed. American reacts to why US produced eggs are banned across Europe, and I'm like, you know what? Bet I'm gonna check that video out too. I'm gonna also react to it. And by the way, Ryan Woozer, if you're watching this, shout out to you, buddy. I do enjoy your channel. And if you guys haven't checked out Ryan Woozer's channel, you should go check it out because he does the same thing I do, probably better. He's got his own personality. Obviously, I got mine. He's got better production quality though. I have issues, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around and just bearing with me. All right, so the original channel is called Side Note. As always, there will be a link in the description section down below, so make sure you go check that out. Hit like, hit subscribe while you're down there. That would be amazing. And we're going to find out about these eggs. Oh, and vice versa. Europe's eggs can't be sold here. But then again, they probably rot before you get them over here, right? Unless you put them in a freezer. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
In the United States Department of Agriculture, or the USDA, lays out regulations for how food products should be produced and processed to ensure food safety. The United States Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA on the other hand, determines the best food consumption practices to minimize health problems. Ironically, they also determine
But do they minimize health problems when you got all these chemicals that are banned in Europe because they've been known to cause cancer, and America's like, you know what? We need more of those in our food. Our bread has the same foam that has the same chemical in it that they put in yoga mats to keep them fluffy. That's a fact. McDonald's buns has that in it. It's to keep it fluffy. It's not just straight up made out of yoga mat. Like, it tastes like a bun, but it's got yoga mat ingredients in it, guys. I don't know about all that.
how much rat hair should be allowed in peanut butter, rat feces in your spices, and cigarette butts in your sandwich. Unless you find more than 30 insect fragments or 1 rodent hair per 100 grams of peanut butter, 9 milligrams of rodent poop per 1 kilogram of wheat, 75 mites per 100 grams of dried mushrooms, 1 maggot per 100 grams of tomato juice, and 13 insect heads every 100 grams of fig paste, the FDA expects you to compromise with this situation because, well, no food practice is perfect, humans make mistakes, restricting food laws will increase food prices, and bugs aren't that gross.
Well, yeah, bugs are gross when they're supposed to not be in my food and they're in my food and going in my belly. Now, guys, I don't know about you, but my stomach is literally starting to hurt now. I mean, earlier I was thinking I was getting a little bit hungry, this and that. And then I put this video on and it's just talking about and reminding me about all the stuff that's allowed to be in my food. My stomach cramped up.
Some of them are quite healthy. At the same time, the USDA has laid out guidelines for how commercial eggs should be produced, processed, and stored to make sure eggs remain safe for public consumption. The UK has their own regulations, but their regulations are quite opposite to those in the US, making it illegal for eggs produced in the UK to be sold in the US and those produced in the US to be sold in the UK.
What's the difference, though? Who has a better quality egg? Probably your guys' chickens out back, really. But out of grocery stores, who has the better quality? What country? I wonder what the regulations and differences are. We're going to find out, though. That's what we're here doing this for, right, guys?
But if guidelines in both the cases are made for food safety and are in the public interest, why are they so contrasting to one another? Which of them is the right practice, or are both of them equally good? In the case of American eggs, the USDA requires its egg farms to properly wash and sanitize their eggs before they reach consumers in order to remove any dirt and feces on the exterior of the eggs. These contaminants are bacterial in nature and may pose a food safety threat when they enter a kitchen environment.
Just wash your own eggs.
For instance, one may crack open an egg and then proceed to prepare a sandwich with those bacteria-ridden hands. Also, eggshells are porous, so there's a possibility of microbes leaking inside the egg.
Who is touching a dirt feces covered egg and then immediately making a peanut butter sandwich? Anyways, have common sense and wash your finger. You guys got filthy fingers, don't you? Wash those fingers, guys. Come on now.
As per the regulation, eggs are washed with warm water at least 20 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the internal temperature of the eggs and at a minimum of 90 degrees Fahrenheit. A detergent that won't impart any foreign odors to the eggs is also used. After washing, the eggs are rinsed with a warm water spray containing a chemical sanitizer to remove any remaining bacteria,
What is going on with that light?
and then are dried to remove excess moisture. Every step of this whole process is scientifically designed and must be executed with extreme care, otherwise this procedure can lead to more damage than good. For example, the drying of eggs is crucial because a dry eggshell acts as a barrier to bacterial intrusion, while the presence of moisture makes the shell more permeable, exposing it to a pathogen attack.
I didn't know that. So your eggs last, which obviously nobody's just got like, wet eggs laying around. I don't. I mean, not that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm assuming they're in the carton in the fridge and they're dry, but I didn't know that the water like helps make it more permeable. See, we're learning, guys. We're learning today.
Furthermore, moisture itself may act as a medium for bacterial growth, and water provides an excellent vehicle for pathogens such as salmonella. The
Yeah.
right temperature of warm washing water is important because water colder than the egg could cause the contents of the egg to contract, sucking polluted water in through the shell. Results may get worse if a facility is not careful enough to regularly change the washing water and eggs are left to sit in the dirty bath. With such high risk of bacteria, if cleaned improperly, the UK and almost all of the world except the US believe that eggs should not be washed or cleaned before they're sold to consumers. As far as dirty eggs are concerned,
Hold on. So, in general, eggs should not be washed or cleaned because such practices can cause damage to the eggshell, which is an effective barrier to bacterial ingress, which with an array of antimicrobial properties. However, some practices, such as the treatment of eggs with ultraviolet rays, should not be interpreted as constituting a cleanup process. Moreover, Class A eggs should not be washed because of the potential damage to the physical barriers, such as the cuticle, which can occur during or after washing. Such damage may favor trans-shell contamination with bacteria and moisture loss, and thereby increasing the risk to consumers, particularly if subsequent drying and storage conditions are not optimal. Interesting.
the EU's egg marketing law encourages good husbandry on farms. Because eggs can't be cleaned or washed, it's in the farmer's best interest to produce the cleanest eggs possible, as no one is going to buy their eggs if they're dirty. This may not sound too convincing to you, but there's more to it.
Now, how many of these farmers are like, you know what, guys, there's a little bit too much doo-doo on this. Sales are going down lately. These people aren't buying my eggs, so we're just going to go ahead and just wash that dirt off real quick ahead of time and just say they're unwashed. We'll leave a little bit of doo-doo, but we'll get most of it off. Is that a thing? Let me know, guys. If you're in London or Manchester or wherever it is over in London and you're working on the egg factory or you're an egg farmer, I guess would be more accurate. Do you do that? Because I might. I mean, it's all about those sales, right? I don't know. Who knows?
An egg carries a thin layer of coating on its outer surface called cuticle.
Cuticle.
This layer naturally protects eggs from almost all contamination and also keeps the eggs fresh for longer periods.
America, we got to make it seem like, oh, well, this is better for us. But in reality, when you dig deeper, it's not. It's introducing germs into the shell a little bit faster, and it's making your eggs turn quicker, forcing you to go buy more at a faster rate. This is just American consumerism, capitalism, disguised as, hey, we're doing something for the people, but they're not. Should have known. I mean, that's just how America is ran.
Washing eggs damage most of this protective layer and makes them vulnerable to contamination from pathogens and other microorganisms. In absence of washing, an egg is capable of protecting itself naturally, and if care is taken while handling the eggs, the contamination of kitchen environments can also be eliminated. The UK, thus, believes that a little care is better than the huge risk and cost of washing eggs.
I would just naturally take that kind of care of myself. You can clear. I mean, I've had chickens in the past, not personally myself, but when I was a kid and stuff, like my mom and ex-stepdad, they had some chickens and stuff, and we ate farm fresh eggs, and they're amazing. We didn't wash them either. We rinsed them off before we cracked them open. That's what I do. Like you get it out. You're ready to fry up a couple eggs, you wash that doo-doo off, rinse it off in the sink and make it all clean, and then you crack your egg open. You wash your hands because you just done cracked open an egg, and salmonella's a thing. Anytime I deal with eggs, I wash my hands and then proceed to make that peanut butter sandwich or whatever with clean fingers, which they're probably not clean right now, but hey, I'm not in the kitchen making food right now, so they don't have to be.
Another thing that makes British eggs and American eggs different to one another is how they're stored. In the UK and almost everywhere in Europe, you can see eggs sitting in unrefrigerated shelves of supermarkets.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I used to work at an egg factory, actually. Well, I worked at the part that made the feed for the chickens that made the eggs, but it was in the process. It was part of the Creighton Brothers like egg thing. And one of the higher ups actually told me like they'll last for a long time. Like even the expiration date, it's not a thing. And if you put them in the fridge, he said that he's had eggs in his fridge for 2 years that were good. Now these obviously aren't on, in the fridge, and these are farm fresh basically, and that's how we used to do it when it was farm fresh. We just had a bowl on the counter, and we just go out, collect the eggs every day, put them in the bowl, and whatever we cooked that day, we cooked, and whatever we didn't, they just sat in the bowl until the next day, and there was no issues. But I don't know how long they last. Like what's the shelf life, right? If he doesn't tell us, can you tell us? Maybe you know about it.
The EU regulations stipulates that eggs should in general not be refrigerated before selling to the final consumer. Chilled eggs, when left outside at room temperature during transit between the supermarket and the customer's home, may sweat and form moisture on its surface, facilitating the growth of bacteria and probably their ingression into the egg.
What?
The American system, on the other hand, instructs its seller to refrigerate eggs under 40 degrees Fahrenheit in order to decrease the risk of salmonella. Salmonella isn't a big problem in the UK because European farmers have been vaccinating their hens against salmonella since the 1990s and have received good results.
Oh.
Vaccination in the
Why don't they just do that here? Vaccinate the chickens, guys. Come on now.
salmonella since the 1990s and have received good results. Vaccination in the US is not a common practice.
Why?
Because of all of these differences in how eggs are
God.
processed and stored in the two nations, British eggs are significantly richer in taste. But how would you know?
I do know. Well, I haven't had British eggs, but I have had, like I said, farm fresh eggs, and they do. They have a richer taste, almost like a milky sweetness to them, like an extra level of creaminess that you just don't get in a store egg. And until you actually eat a farm fresh egg and compare it to a store bought egg from America that's been washed and stored cold or whatever, you're not going to notice the difference. People around here don't ever eat farm fresh eggs. It's a very, go to the store, buy your stuff. That's the kind of nation it is. Now, farmers do, but yeah.
British eggs can't be sold in the US, and the US ones in the UK.
That was it. You guys have a super fun, awesome day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hit like, hit subscribe. Take care.